Hello everyone, people who are joining in. I hope you're able to see me clearly. Hi Sophia. Hi Shima. Hi. Hello Instagaze, how are you? Hey, usually during the live sessions, the camera is too much into my face. Is it better today? All right, Alberto has joined in. Hey, Alberto, how are you, buddy? All right, Natsune is here, so let me connect with her. Hello, Riri. Hello, Arshi. I'm very good, Instagaze. Shoaib, what's up, man?
Thank you so much
All
for
right, so here we
inviting me.
have Natsune. Yeah, you were
Hi.
saying something, Natsune. I'm sorry, I just interjected. I completely
No
cut
worries.
you
No,
off.
just thank you very much for having me today. I'm so
Absolutely
excited.
welcome. We've got some awesome audience. Hey, Sarah, I was just saying hello to everybody who's joining in. Keanu has joined in. Hey, Zoya, bye, what's up? Nikat, what's up? All right, we got some great people with us.
Yay.
So
Thank you.
I'm very excited to have you here, Natsune.
Me too.
So let me first give people a little intro of who you are, and maybe then you can talk about yourself, and that would be great.
Yeah.
So you know, people, as I have shared on my stories, that this session is with Natsune. Natsune she's an author, she's an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
she's a host at Life Up Education TV,
Mhm.
and we kind of
Yeah.
just met each other on Instagram. We became instant friends, and then we thought let's do something for our followers. So Natsune, it would be great if you can just tell people about yourself and what it is that you do.
Yeah, so thank you very much for having me, first of all. And as introduced, my name is Natsune Oki. That's my pen name. I go by Natsune Oki. I'm an author of the book. Hold on. They're called
You,
The Game
you
of
got the book.
Self-Creation.
Awesome.
This is still an author copy because it's gonna come out on August 27th. So this is gonna be next
Uh-huh.
month. So I still got the author
Mhm.
copy right here. But I'm the
Uh-huh.
author of this book, and then the same within the same domain, I also have Life Up Education TV, which is this
Yeah.
media outlet that I'm developing, where I talk about art and science of happiness and success, also like high achievers. And
Right.
so that one is called the Life Up Education TV, and I'm also the owner, Japanese startup owner of a company called Foreign Connect, where I help
Yeah.
Japanese businesses to break into American market by connecting them with local partners.
Awesome. That's amazing. Then that's powerful. And for people who are joining in from your end, let me just briefly introduce myself. Um, my name is Syed Sunny Karhani. I am the founder and CEO of Indian Training Company. I am a talent development expert and happiness scientist. Indian Training Company provides training and development services to organizations and individuals, and we provide these services through classroom training, outbound training, and most of all, web-based training. And especially during the time of coronavirus, during these strange times when classroom training and outbound training are not possible, web-based training is an excellent solution where our team members are providing the same awesome experience of classroom training remotely through web-based training.
That's
So
awesome.
Nathaniel, let's just, yeah, thank you so much. Let's just jump into the session straight away.
Yeah.
You said you're a host at Life Up Education TV, and
Mhm.
you've obviously spoken to so many successful people, so many business owners, even sports persons, right? Uh, what do you think? What have you learned from them? What is the secret to their success?
Um, like so I have podcasts both combined. Like I have a podcast both from the Life Up Education TV, but I also have the podcast that focuses on talking about how to create digital transformation for companies. This is like a B2B podcast where I talk about like really like management, like organization management for the companies, especially specializing in digital transformation, and also how to sell, like it's in e-commerce, and then also
Oh, wow.
startup incubation. So I focus on these three
Wow.
pillars with Phony Connect. So with that, I have spoken with like many professionals who work in this field, like, you know, people who
Mm-hmm.
teaches how to make operation completely in digital for corporations. Like they consult on this topic, or they some other time I would talk with like an investor who invested in like a biotech technology companies in San Francisco,
Okay.
and you know, so
Yeah,
just
yeah,
lots of like interesting profile. And
yeah.
as far as like the most interesting thing I learned, I mean, because of that, I constantly learn new things and then new concept of business, and it's like very interesting place to be in. But as far as what I learned, I think I would say if I were to choose one thing as a pick,
Uh-huh.
is when I was interviewing this startup advisor. So he currently teaches startup owners how to basically grow their
Okay.
companies in
Uh-huh.
in the biotech, right? Like a biotech and
Mm-hmm.
food industry. And
Right.
he talked about like how can we be authentically confident in business,
Mm-hmm.
because in
Mm-hmm.
business it's very important that you present yourself being like authoritative of the industry, and you being the
Right.
one who knows everything.
Right.
There could
Right.
be this like a fear of being wrong, right? Like in the environment of like business. And then I
Right.
kind of felt that pressure before, so I wanted to ask
Mm-hmm.
that to him, because he's very
Mm-hmm.
experienced, and you know, he coaches a lot of business entrepreneurs. So and
Mm-hmm.
one thing he said was like, don't try to like prove yourself, like don't try to have the confidence built in you, which kind
Mm-hmm.
of sounds wrong, but what he's mean is like, try to build confidence around your idea, like meaning
Okay.
that if you're not gonna do your business right, like you have this certain
Mm-hmm.
vision, like you're a visionary leader, you have this certain vision you want to convey to the world, you have this purpose you
Mm-hmm.
want to deliver to the world, and then
Yeah.
if you don't do it, there's no one else in the world who would do it in the exact way you want to deliver it, right? And it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so mind-blowing to me. I never thought about it like that. Like whenever I have this doubts of like, you know, like I'm just like, you know, people won't take me seriously, whatever. Like I always focus on me. I didn't focus on
Mm-hmm.
what is it that I'm delivering to the world? What is it that I
Right.
want to convey to the world, right? And if I think
Right.
about
Right.
it, like my doubt and everything else really drops. Like I don't
Yeah.
mind about getting hurt, getting rejected, getting like whatever it is. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited to deliver the message I'm inspired by, and then I want to
Yeah.
inspire people with that. So that's something that was very new to me. Actually, you
Yeah.
saw the interview, right? I don't know if
I did. I did.
you.
I did. Ron Shingeta, right? Ron
Yes.
Shingeta. You were talking to Ron Shingeta.
Exactly.
Ron's ideas were awesome. I mean, he was talking about, so he was basically some things that he said. I was instantly able to connect with those things because I had similar ideas, especially the thing that he talked about not agreeing with Gary Vaynerchuk on a lot of fronts.
Hmm.
I also sometimes feel that Gary says some really wonderful things. Gary's always like pushing people to do stuff. He says, I say yes to every question that people ask me, but then I specialize in helping people in emerging economies, and I understand the challenges of people in emerging economies like India, Indonesia, Nigeria, Bahrain, and Bangladesh, and we I interact with a lot of entrepreneurs from those regions, and I see that I cannot say yes to everything because I understand that there are a lot of government policies and there are a lot of financial challenges that people have. So it's very important for us to rightly assess the situation before giving advice. But then I really liked your idea about do not have confidence in yourself, but have confidence around the idea.
Hmm.
That's a unique thought, right?
It's a mission, you know, like it's at that point it's no longer like you're not making it about you, it's you're making it about a mission, you're making it as a purpose, like a higher purpose. And this like a very pure desire of wanting to contribute to the world in a positive way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for that, nobody has a doubt for that, you know, like you never have a doubt in the purpose you're living for, right? And yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what I also focus on at the end of the day with my book, like in my conclusion, because I talk about something about like success can never be achieved. Success exists always in future, meaning that you don't look back in the past and say, like, whatever you achieve, you don't look back to whatever you achieved in the past and say, oh my God, I'm so excited by my success, like in the past. Like, you don't say that. You're always inspired, like, you're always triggered and inspired by the vision in the future, like your purpose and your drive.
So
and your inspiration is always in the future. And so basically, well, this kind of opens up like whole another conversation about self-awareness and all the good stuff that I talk about in my book. I don't know how deep I want to go to it, but that's kind of just a tiny sense of what I talk about.
Let's go deep. Let's talk about your book. I mean, this is a fantastic book. I keep looking at your the posts that you upload on Instagram, and sometimes you talk about your book, and you talk about some amazing ideas related to opening up your mind and really connecting with your inner self. So talk about it. Talk about how we can actually, you said dominate the mind. So how does one dominate the mind?
Yeah, I love that you use that word. Maybe you remembered my name of the book, right? Like the self-domination.
I do.
But it really comes down to it. Like I talk about how to create the mental transformation in 3 different phases. The first phase, I talk about how to create decisiveness and momentum in life. Like how can we create this like disgusted feeling to say enough is enough. Like I had it enough. Like, look, I'm so disappointed about myself, my situation, and I have no other option but to make a change. Like, that's the first place you need to kind of get to without any bullshit, without any excuses. And then in the same time, like, you need to be able to see that whatever you're dreaming of right now is possible. You need to believe that from your bottom of your heart, like your soul, like everything needs to see that it is possible. And then, so at that point, you're put in a state where you're both disparate, but at the same time you're inspired. So it really pushes you when you are in that state. And then next thing I talk about is self-awareness, because creating momentum and decisiveness. So it's, this is something I heard before, but basically from someone else before, but basically the moment you decide to change your life, it doesn't take that much time, right? Like you decide on doing something, but then what takes time is the time before that. Like you're in this, like you're constantly in this like a state of, maybe I want to do it, but I'm scared of this thing or whatever. And then you're like, indifferent in that, and then you're too scared of making that decision, right? So that moment, it does take time, but that's why I talk about creating momentum in life. But after that is when the game starts, right? Like after that is what keeps you playing the game. And then one of the things I would talk about is really meeting to your true self, and then having a very deep and strong sense of self-awareness. Because shit will hurt you, like shit will hit you, right? And that's how I borrowed this quote from the ancient Greek philosopher. It says, happiness is a virtue activities of the soul. So meaning that you're gonna be tested, and adversities and hardships are not the enemy at all. Actually,
not at all.
Characters, these things will
not at all.
block you to become who you are and makes you stronger. And if you think about it that way, like you're so, I cannot not be excited about the adversity or challenges.
I love that idea.
Like I mean, I strive during that suffering. Like when I think about, like someone else asked me when was I satisfied the most earlier today, because I had another interview, and I thought about, wow, like I mean, I've done some, yacht on the weekends, like, going to gala, like, just like doing this, like, superficial stuff, right? Like, I've done that. But, when I hear that question, all I can think of is when I was, like, suffering, like when I knew
Yeah.
that I suck shit and I needed to fucking
Yeah.
figure something out, like at that like
Yeah.
extreme state of mind, like it wasn't even
Yeah.
anymore about fear, it wasn't about anymore about like shame, nothing. I just thought
Yeah.
like, wow, like I'm growing, I'm expanding, like I'm hitting this wall, but
Yeah.
my life is so rich, like my life is so much richer than what I've used to
Yeah.
know. Like
Yeah.
I'm constantly challenged and my mind is like about to break down, but like I can tell that I'm becoming stronger. And just for
Yeah.
that, I was so grateful and I was so happy. And
Yeah.
it almost felt like I was meeting my true potential. I was meeting my true self, because
Yeah.
you know, like when you are really really challenged, right, like your identity is challenged, your belief, everything is challenged, and most
Everything.
importantly, like how much you thought you're like you were capable is challenged now, right? But
Yeah.
these times really, that's the time I really gained my courage to say like it's either I give up now or I have to keep going, and I always chose to keep going. And
Wow.
with a peaceful like mind, that those are the time I would look back later and then really
Yeah.
appreciate like later.
Yeah.
So I forgot what we were talking about because I got stuck.
That's it's completely fine because the stream of consciousness is wonderful.
Yeah.
This whole stream of consciousness that you're following is amazing. It's where you're coming up with some great ideas.
That's great.
Uh, I loved what you said about when life doesn't give you something, it's testing you. So
Mhm.
I remember a few years back, I was really at a bad place. I keep talking about, uh, uh, you know, uh, in the past when I was broken. I like to share. I'm pretty fearless about sharing, incidents where I was anxious or I was scared. I think that if I'm going to talk about those things, maybe it will give some power to people.
Mhm.
So I was at a very bad place in life, and I remember I was standing in the street. I parked my car to the side of the road, and I just pulled out my phone and I started filming myself. And I said, those were the thoughts that were just coming up in my mind at that instant. I said, when life is not giving you something, life is testing you. Life wants to know, are you strong enough to bear the burden of the gifts that I'm about to give you? So no, not everyone is ready to become a CEO, or not everyone is ready to become a billionaire, or not everyone is ready to accept those massive gifts.
Mhm.
As Tony Robbins talks about his massive action plan. He says that when you're ready, just just go all for it and just talk about your massive action plan. Tony is right. You need to do that. As you said, when you're self aware, you just need to go out there and do it. And you have to be excited about it. And
Yeah.
the only way, the next step about after awareness is just accepting the idea that you need change and then acting on it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because, it all starts with awareness. It
Mhm.
starts with awareness. You become aware. You understand that, where you are, where you need to go.
Mhm.
You accept that there are certain things that you need in order to improve, in order to reach where you want to reach.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you create an action plan and you start treading on that path.
Mhm.
Earlier, you talked about, I'm sorry,
So
yes, you were
sorry,
saying
like
something.
coming along with that, I think there's
Yeah,
another thing that I saw the other day was interesting, actually, from Gary Vee. He said about like it's the ability to be uncomfortable and then be practitioner is the best skill you can have as an entrepreneur or as a leader. And I very much resonate with that. Like, and another thing I guess I would share is from the same person, Gary Vee. He said, don't listen to your positive thought. Don't listen to your negative thought. Always listen to what the market says, because if you keep listening to your positive thought, you will become soft and you will become entitled. And then if you keep
hmm,
listening to the negative thought only, you will become scared and you will become
yeah,
just scared, right? And then if you
yeah,
are able to look at, I guess, look at the event as they are, but nothing more. You're
yeah,
not attaching meaning, success or failure to it, but then purely just
yeah,
being able to uh, be fluid with your egos or emotion or whatever, with just the
yeah,
fact. Then that's the
yeah,
moment you're like able to kind of navigate through whatever comes to your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you earlier that you mentioned that you help businesses expand in Japan and you help businesses come into Japan. So,
It's
coming back
actually
to
my
business.
right now. Yeah. So I
Oh,
help
okay.
Japanese companies to expand in America.
Okay. So Japanese companies, you help them expand in America. So it's called Foreign Connect, right?
Hmm.
Awesome. So my question to you is that right now, how can entrepreneurs
Hmm.
expand their businesses in offshore territories?
Also,
Do you have any tips for them?
like honestly, that was my thought, right? Like that's why I built the whole thing, which actually I was already doing that with another company, and so there was already a market validation to it. So
Uh
basically,
huh.
what it comes down to it is that with like without necessarily investing your own money into the complete foreign market where you have zero idea about, like it's better that you always build up like a strategic partnerships or just
Hmm.
partnership in general from the local market, and then maybe outsource some of the operation there and then kind of test it, especially when it comes to marketing and sales. Like these are the things that you can still like outsource, and actually it's more efficient if you outsource it because there's going to be always a gap of like not fully understanding how to research in the local market, and then there's always like translation gap. There's this like a culture
Yeah.
gap, and there's just so much obstacle. So it's always
Yeah.
smart that you either hire a consultant or you either hire just like a complete agency who can like kind of do the operation by
Yeah.
themselves, and then kind of like test that market and then see if it's gonna go anywhere, and then you can
Yeah.
finally launch your own thing there. So
Yeah.
I guess my advice is find a partnership in local area who knows the
Uh-huh.
local market very well so that they can
Mhm.
help you along the way.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we were also talking about creating sales strategies, and you said that you might have a question for me about a sales strategy. Uh, by the way, people are loving your responses, so that's great. Uh, yeah, I'm very happy that people are finding this session useful.
Hmm.
Hey, Natsune. So I was talking about sales, but then I think let's keep the sales part for our for the webinar that we were planning. Maybe we can go ahead and do that sometime in the future. Let's talk about happiness real quick, okay? Because I saw you talking about happiness as well in one of your Instagram videos. You were saying that you've cracked the code to happiness. So I love talking about happiness. I'm trying to understand happiness as a science.
Hmm.
What do you think is happiness, and how can people move towards happiness?
I think, I mean, there's a art and science, right? Like there's a difference between art and science. And I think happiness,
Yeah.
when it comes to, concepts like happiness, success, like these are very subjective. So I think
Hmm.
there's a stronger art element to the definition itself. But of
Hmm.
course, we can talk about it from the perspective of like hormone level. We can talk about it from the perspective of, you know what I mean? Like these are the things
Yeah.
that would attach to the science of
Yeah.
happiness. But when
Yeah.
it comes to the art of happiness, from my understanding, is that it's just like confidence or certainty or all the other concepts that I introduced with my book. Happiness is like
Yeah.
you decide and then you can have it. Like it's not something that you naturally have it. It's something you have to be responsible for having it. And like
Yeah.
this is also why I mean, I can easily get distracted. I can easily see how loser I am, like how bad I'm doing every day.
Yeah.
Every day, like you're vulnerable to these risks when you're a risk taker, when
Yeah.
you are like courageous person who wants to pursue something in life. Like you see literally every day, like a piles stack of things, this negative self doubts, like everything, even like from the
Yeah.
market feedback, everything, right? Like you have so much
Yeah.
trigger, but like I love it. I even I even love the bad side that comes with my journey. Like I adore all the even negative side of everything I do. Like I just feel like once again, like this all that I'm experiencing is so necessary for me to be
Yeah.
stronger, for me to be able to handle the amount of success. I think we stopped there a little bit. But comes back to your point. Actually, there's a story that I want to tell.
Uh-huh.
So, I guess okay. So, sorry. This is kind of like going to the different direction. My
No, it's okay.
original
I would
story. I
love
just
to.
wanted to share this really cool story,
Let's talk about that story.
like, so I moved away. Like, I'm from Japan. I was born and raised in Japan, but I decided to move to America. And at that point,
Hmm.
I also made courageous decisions many times. One of the
Hmm.
decision was I basically stopped my school, which was very rare to
Hmm.
do. If you're an international student, like that's almost like no one did it, but I did it. Like I had to do it. And then at that point, like it was so hard. Like I didn't even have the complete education, right? Like I was just like a foreign high school graduate, like who wanted to have a job in America, like such a random situation, right? So I suffered a lot. But one day I remember I was in a bus, right? Like I was broke as fuck. And then I was in a bus, like riding, and I couldn't get any job. I couldn't get any connection. My English was like very good to understand. Like it was just so fucking
Hmm.
crazy. And I was thinking to myself, I was living in Seattle at that time, and I was thinking, wow, Natsune, like you're feeling this like really you're very disappointed right now, but think about it, like Bill Gates lives here. Bill Gates live in Washington State. Like, do you think Bill Gates goes through this shit every day? I mean, of course he's gonna go through bigger shit like than I do. And then if
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
can't handle this kind of shit, like this small tiny problem that I'm facing right now,
yeah,
how can I be a person like Bill Gates? How can I be someone who's capable of handling the success, right? So
yeah,
that was one very defining moment I had, that really made me realize the thing that you said exactly to your point. Like I just thought, wow, like I need to stop seeing it as something that's gonna distract me or like stops me, but rather I need to see it as opportunity for me to be capable of handling the
yeah.
success then. um so sorry, I just kind of like went to another direction, and your original question was what is happiness to me, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right,
That
so
was a question. No, but then I think let me talk about your journey for a second. I think it's really nice for us to go on these go on these journeys, and I'm not talking about that bus journey in particular. I'm talking about the journey of life.
yeah.
It's really important for us to just kind of deviate once in a while. I remember it so happened in one of my jobs that um, I had a perfectly fine job, and one day I just reached office, and I was about to just use my access card to enter the workplace.
Mhm.
And thought, what am I doing, man? Do I really want to do it for another year, another 5 years? And I just stopped there. I came back. I stood near the lift area in the lift lobby.
Mhm.
I called up my manager. I said, I want to quit. And she was like, what happened? You were coming to work today. Everything was fine until yesterday. I said, yeah, it was fine until yesterday, but I woke up today, and I literally woke up today, and I no longer want to do it. It's about to change my life. It's about time I change my life. And yeah, you're right. It's just important for us to have those kind of journeys, those kind of deviations. They help us.
Mhm. Cool.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm glad that people can resonate with those ideas. So yeah, coming back to the question. So let's make it the last question for this session. What is happiness to you?
Right. So I was actually half answering, right, and then which is to say, happiness is your responsibility. Happiness is not something that you have by nature. This is a
Yeah,
difference here a lot also from the outside. But someone says, your brain is literally like a million years old, and
yeah,
like it's not trained to make you happy, but it's trained to make you survive. And I very much agree with that. Like we
yeah,
have these triggers
yeah,
that easily puts us in a state of like negativity and just doubt and just depression. But I think it's our responsibility. It's a mental fitness. I think
yeah,
happiness is something that we need to be in charge of. We need to take
Yeah.
initiatives. We need to. It's our responsibility to change our perceptions around different things to make us at the optimal. I guess make us at the happiest state, and then that's gonna actually help you to perform better. Like
Yeah.
you already know about this concept too. Since you have mentioned about the happiness in science, there's this guy I follow. His name is Sean Acker, and
Yeah.
he talks about. Do you know him? So
I
he,
do. I do.
yeah.
Yes.
So he basically had this study of like how really like being happy boosts your productivity level, performance, and
Yeah.
he also
A
like
lot.
large corporations in that too. And
Yes.
I very much
Yes.
agree with that. Like the thing is like I constantly train myself to like it's not that I don't have the negative state or it's not that I don't get depressed, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes I do have
Yeah.
these timings, but like 1 hour later I'm always back at working because I just feel like shit, like I fucked up. But look, like I mean it's my responsibility to just like keep going, right? And then in that moment, like when I'm damaged, like I even still get a joy out of it. Like I just feel like wow, but look, I'm taking full responsible here. Like I'm
Yeah.
such a badass. I'm being like I guess if I don't take this responsibility, who else can take this responsibility? And it's my responsibility to strive. It's my responsibility to change my perception around my hardships
Yeah.
and then keep
Yeah.
striving, keep going, you know?
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Hey, you wanna answer that question that Matutinal Breeze has?
So it's happiness, a purpose, or a duty, or neither of them.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good question. I would say that I look at happiness as both. I mean, I do see happiness as my big theme of life that I live, but I
Yeah.
also see happiness as a function that you can
Yeah.
employ as a method. Um,
Yep.
but ultimately, like for example, I look at life at the very macro sense. I always like
Hmm.
I'm not a detailed person. I suck shit at details, like paying attention to details. And I'm always like a super macro person. I always care about future. I always care about us as a humanity and then our progress
Yeah.
as a
The
humanity.
bigger goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I think of that, happiness is a big thing. I mean, ultimately, what I'm
Yeah.
striving for is to make us happy as a humanity, right? Like
Yes.
100
Yes.
years from now, or even thousands years
Yeah.
from now, like that's my
Yeah.
ultimate goal. And I think I understand that I'm a part of a bigger system. I'm a part of a humanity. And
Yeah.
if I could make actions, even slight, like a tiny actions toward making us as a humanity to be happier, then that's like
Yeah.
serving for my purpose. That's serving for what I live in this world. So that's kind of how I look at it. If that
That's
answers
that's
the
that's
question.
that's a wonderful idea, and it kind of relates to my idea of happiness. I believe that happiness is the ultimate pursuit of all human beings,
Mm-hmm.
and I define happiness as physical and mental comfort. And I believe that whatever people do, whether it is earning money or finding love or finding a purpose or just defending your nation or building a business,
Mm-hmm.
they're all doing it because it eventually provides them either physical or mental comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So happiness in that way becomes the ultimate pursuit of all human beings. And you're very right. If we connect it with the idea of serving humanity as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
then of course, it becomes a very didactic mission. It becomes a mission that not just satisfies us, but also creates a mark on the world, on the people, and that's a win-win situation for everybody.
I love
So it
that.
was great talking to you, Natsune. Before we wrap up the session, once again, please let people know about yourself and the work that you're doing,
Yeah.
and maybe yeah, then we can close the session.
Yeah, so my name is Natsune Oki. Once again, I'm author of the book The Game of Self Domination. I am available under Life Up Education TV. So if you search me on TikTok, YouTube, what else? Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, like everything, I'm under Life Up Education TV. Of course, on Instagram as well. I've been doing a lot of TikToks lately. But
Yeah,
yes,
I see that. Yeah.
yeah, that's where people can find me. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. It was great interacting with you, Natsune. Wonderful session. I'm going to download it now, just edit it a little bit, and then I'm going to upload it to Instagram again, and that's where people can find it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for finding the time to listen to us. We'll be back with more of such awesome sessions soon. Adios.
Yeah.